Welcome to the show that gave the color purple a whole new meaning. That's right, folks. We're following the second Marvel Netflix series, a show following a hard-drinking and hard-boiled private investigator with superhuman abilities as she combats her dark past returning to haunt her. This woman and this show is Jessica Jones. So join us as we start investigating Jessica Jones. And tonight we'll be talking about episode 4 of season 1, aka 99 Friends. I got 99 friends and they all superheroes, BlueDragonFive. What do you think of that?
It's a crowded house.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so Dragon, good to be back doing Jessica Jones, kind of just, keeping the train moving before Daredevil drops. So I guess you want to get right into this episode?
Sure.
Okay, let's start things off with the plot.
Okay, so here's what's happening, folks, with the plot. So Jessica's on the lookout for people photographing her since the reveal of last episode. Perpman has this wonderful collage of Jessica Jones, really artfully done. I gotta give him points on that one. Audrey Eastman hires her to get proof on her husband Carlo that he is having an affair. Simpson, our temperamental officer, tries to make things right with Trish. We reveal that there are other Kilgrave victims that have come forward since the interview on Trish Talk. It's revealed that the Eastmans have set Jessica up for revenge, for a grand revenge plot, which is going to be really interesting when we get to it. Ultimately, Jessica discovers that Malcolm is Kilgrave's spy. Boom! Big reveal. Wow! And that's the plot.
What a twist. All right. And with that, we get into Jessica's journey. And by the way, I did not like the Eastman thing nearly as much as you did. I think that's going to be a point of contention here.
Well, I'll admit, I was just trying to make it sound nicer in the plot.
Okay, BlueDragonFive, just kind of going off of my...
I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying it wasn't bad. I made it sound nicer in the plot synopsis. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. No, come on, man. Give yourself more credit than that. But no, but I don't know. Out of these first 5 that we're going to be covering episode 4 and then episode 5 right after that. This is probably my least favorite of the early episodes of Jessica Jones. It's not bad. There's certainly some good stuff in there. There's some good scenes, but it's the one that feels the most like it's just kind of like plodding along. The wheels are still kind of just in motion, getting the plot moving. There wasn't really a whole lot that stood out, but there was some good stuff in there. So let's dive into it.
Okay, so Jessica's journey. So let's see how our little Jessica Jones grew today.
Oh dear.
Okay, well, we see Jessica. She's adjusting to the idea that Kilgrave has sent people to spy on her, and she's trying to figure out who that is, and we get that done in an excellent way with this really telling shot of just like her looking at the subway, a place she's been before, a place she has a photograph of from Kilgrave's from the Kilgrave's location last episode, where we have this really awesome monologue, this kind of narration, so to speak, that kind of took us through her feelings on the matter. If I can play that.
Mm-hmm. Huh?
All right. Here we go. It's stalled for a second. I don't know why. And it's stalling again. I don't know.
Wonderful. This is captivating podcasting. Jessica, you need to get the recording right, Jessica.
Oh God. No idea what's... I'm going to fix that while we continue. Delta takes through Jessica's journey.
All right. So,
sorry, folks, I'm working on it.
So, yeah, I guess the big thing to note with this episode is the Audrey Eastman storyline, where she is basically just kind of like a stereotypical kind of like, oh, my husband is a cheating pig, and I want you to follow him and take pictures of him and yada yada, so I can use the pictures against him in a divorce. And I don't know, BlueDragonFive, right off the bat, I just was not feeling this character. I was like, really, are we going to waste like almost a whole episode going through this kind of plot. I don't know. It just seemed a little meandering to me.
Well, I'll admit, the Eastmans at first I wasn't too crazy about, but again, I think with just kind of the stuff they do with them kind of throughout this, it starts to get a little more interesting. And when I say that, I don't mean it's like compared to the rest of stuff we have this season, just continuing with our main plot, it's not as interesting. I'll give you that one, but I think in context of how it reflects on Jessica, it's a little more captivating. And the rewatch, I think it holds up a lot better, just kind of knowing what this lady has up her sleeve, you know.
I absolutely think that Jessica's reaction to it is the best part, and it kind of warrants it. At the same time, I just think everything about these people's plan is just sloppy and it's convoluted. The reason why they're even doing it, it's just dumb. I don't know. Anyways.
Anyway, yeah. So let's see. So again, so she has a lot of paranoia around her since the ending last episode. You know, again, as you just mentioned, she's hired by the Eastmans, who again, so Audrey Eastman, she just insults the business constantly. From the instant you kind of
oh my god, yeah, she's so unlikable. That whole moment where she calls out like, oh well, I want to make sure that the check I'm writing is going to, you're going to earn the check. It's like, shut up, lady, just shut up.
She's very insulting, just absolutely so insulting, you know.
Yeah.
And by the way, she is played by a very familiar face, which you would like me to share who plays her?
Yeah, please, I'm dying to know.
So I hope I'm getting the pronunciation of this last name right. Jessica Haish, again, I spell like Anne Haish, but Jessica Haish, you may remember her, Tiki, best as Gretchen Schwartz from Breaking Bad.
Gretchen Schwartz, really?
Yeah, that's her. I'm surprised you didn't recognize her.
No, I didn't. Okay, wow.
Walt, wow. I feel sorry for you.
Oh, dear God. Oh. Well, okay, so she's just as unlikable in this show as she is in Breaking Bad. Good job.
She was much more likable in Breaking Bad, though.
I think so. Yeah, you're right.
But okay. Let's see. So anyway, so with the Eastman, the idea, just Jessica, she's really overcome with all that paranoia that we saw from the opening there, and she's just throwing herself into her work. Hence the Eastman case. That's the reason for this episode. It's like I love one of the things I really like about this episode, and it's definitely firmly in play on Jessica's journey here. Is like the Purple Man is still kind of what he does best. He's like in her thoughts. He's like all around her, and she's just trying to get back into what she can do to take her mind off the things. But it's still echoing in her mind, still like all that paranoia about him surrounding her, which is kind of throwing her off her game. That's why she's like asking Eastman like all these questions of like saying, "Wait, did you contact a man who spoke with a British accent?" Says, no. Mm-hmm. She's just trying to get back to business, but it's those concerns just overshadow her focus, which again throws her off. She's constantly suspicious. Mm-hmm. He's the constant suspect, which obviously does interfere when you're in the private investigator game, when you're just looking for other people or you're tracking down leads when you think of this one suspect every time.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite character building scenes with her, though, is this whole scene where she's interviewing potential people who have been killgraved.
Yeah. Oh, just an excellent scene.
Yeah, I don't know if you're like saving it for something.
I'm still working on the thing. I'm sorry. We gotta.
Don't worry about it.
You gotta keep working. Let's keep going through it, Jessica.
Okay. Well, the scene where she's Hogarth's got all the. Do we want to save this for the Hogarth stuff?
Yeah, we'll save for the Hogarth stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I do think it's one of Jessica's strongest scenes in the episode.
Yeah, but I like how she's just trying to secure her friends. At least this is set up early in the episode. She's just trying to make sure everyone's safe. That's why she's distanced herself from Luke because of Purple Man getting closer to her, which is set last episode. So that's where she's kind of at this episode. And we see her like doing the steps of like deleting all the pictures.
Sure, but yeah.
Which, by the way, I wanted to correct the mistake I made last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago. I'm not quite sure. I mentioned they were unclear about the whole Luke Cage, the whole the Reva thing, the whole why Jessica Jones, not the Reva thing, I'm sorry, the bit where Luke Cage's current flame is the married woman. She stops by the apartment and she says, my husband didn't know that whole thing. It was like we were thinking it was a little bit set up a little clunkily. They don't really call back to it or explain what's going on. Right. I mean, technically the explanation's here, but I think it still goes by a little under the radar. I guess it's on us, but there's that bit where she's deleting all these other pictures of Luke Cage. So she has, in fact, been just kind of taking photographs of Luke Cage, and apparently she's just coming up with the rationale that she's not wrong about, because she does deduce that Luke Cage is the woman Luke Cage is seeing is a married woman. So she deduced that she wasn't wrong, but she lied about the husband hiring her, I guess.
Mm-hmm. All right, fair enough.
So there is an explanation there. It's just kind of subtle, though.
Okay.
I mean, we have the answer here. It flies by under the radar, which maybe they could have made it more apparent, but it's there. So
it's like a good detective story. It's a clue.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so yeah, she's kind of what Jessica does best. She just tries to keep her friends in a secure place, like Trish and like everyone else, and again, like Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm.
And again, no matter how painful to the ego, she's willing to just do whatever it takes to secure her friends, which is a moment we're going to be getting to a little later on.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I love how strategic she is with the Purple Man. Like, she knows his modus operandi. We get kind of that setup, like how long his effects work and all that stuff when she's like talking to Trish on the phone.
Lots of good kind of rules being set up with the Purple Man, which always makes this kind of fictional superhero stuff more engaging and more kind of like easy to grasp, at least for me.
Yeah. We do see she has these issues of loss, but when we find out what the Eastman's revenge plot is, we do see she's just kind of working through kind of the catharsis. Like she has these issues of loss, but they're grounded by the reality. She just tries to explain, everyone has problems, okay? It's like she's just still guarding herself a little bit there, but she's just still kind of working through some issues, some deep-seated issues she has.
She basically gives the Eastmans like the world's most dramatic tough love speech.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. So, oh yeah, one more thing to say about her, Jared. I'm sorry. So, I'm still thrown off by this audio thing. I don't think we're gonna have audio this episode.
Well, it's okay. We can work without audio. We can do it.
All right. Anyway, so we see Jessica hits a low point at the end of this episode. She's really confronted by the negative side of her attributes, and on top of the other stuff she's going through. So that leads her to kind of this low point in the shower. She's just kind of like washing out kind of the injury she sustains.
Right.
And anyway, so she just has this moment in the episode where she buckles. She just has that moment, like takes a deep breath, and she just kind of like, she twirls around for a moment, just like letting the world in. Like it's a really nicely done shower. She's like kind of lets in the paranoia for a second. Okay, I guess you got to accept I can't deal with them right now. I'm just going, and she buckles to go to the support meeting, which is something she said she'd never do. And that leads to her in doing that is what ultimately her arc leads to. She has a Kilgrave breakthrough, and that really scares her in the end, which is her whole world is shaken by the end of this episode.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah, sure. So, okay. Purple Man's progression.
Yes. Jessica, you're going to see me progress. All right.
So we know that, again, this is a very Kilgrave light episode. He physically is not in this, but that hasn't stopped him from the first two episodes. Well, the first episode and a half.
He is not in this episode. However, his presence is felt kind of like throughout the episode, especially in the interrogation interview scenes that I was mentioning.
Yeah, what's so great about it is, like, in the other episodes, like, there have been, like, him in shadow or him, like, artfully kind of hinted at in the episode. Mm-hmm. Here is absolutely no trace of the actor, but you get the presence of the Purple Man. It's like, now we've seen the devil's face, now we can feel his presence in the air, It's like, oh, God.
Exactly.
So we know he's upping the ante, though, of who he controls. Again, he's controlling, at this point, if you're looking at a progression on Kilgrave here, it's like it's getting more personal, it's getting more sadistic in who he controls, as we kind of hinted at the last episode when we were talking about it. That he's now controlling children and those closest to Jessica that she never suspected, Malcolm.
And this is, that whole bit with that little girl is probably the most disturbing Kilgrave command of the series thus far in this run. So we'll get into that when we get into that. But
oh, yeah. We see, again, as you mentioned, too, like in this one sequence, a really well-done sequence, we see the slew of victims that have just been traumatized by his, again, it's so sad and so awesome about
the great thing about this sequence from an editing perspective is that it's a mix of people that have been affected by the Purple Man and then people who are obviously trying to use the Purple Man as a fake alibi.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it just like, it works on such a comedic level.
I must say, I mean, I think we have a good sense of like who to weed out and who not.
He had a red
to
shirt. He had a green shirt. He didn't wear a shirt. He was hot.
But out of those, I mean, all of them, you could pretty much tell who was lying, who was telling the truth. But there was one guy.
Right.
There were a few cases. There was one case in particular. One case of one guy who actually sounded like he may or may not have.
Was it the jacket guy?
No, not the jacket guy is true.
Okay.
But I mean, he sounded true. I don't really see any reason why that sounds exactly like the Purple Man. But I mean, there was one guy that sounded like it's so similar to the Purple Man. I don't see how it could not have been. But I think his description was off, so it's a mixed bag. There was someone with the purple cane guy.
Right, yeah.
Which was, first of all, was one of those hilarious jokes in that sequence, by the way. Mm-hmm. There was a guy who said he took this long purple cane and he made me shove it up my own, and you cut to Jessica's horrified reaction, which is hilarious. But again, it sounds like something it's something so terrifying the Purple Man would do it.
Why would you lie about something like that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. I don't know. It sounds like something the Purple Man would do. I think his description was off, though. I'm not sure.
Oh god.
Point is
to ram this cane up your rear.
Again. Make yourself into a pogo stick.
Oh Jesus Christ.
And bounce around like Tigger.
Oh no. Oh, that's too much. That's too much to handle. Oh, that sounds so painful.
Well, Disney and Marvel are linked together now. It's fine. And so is that man with that purple cane. They're linked together,
Jesus
so it's
Christ.
fine.
Okay.
Go into the
big picture.
Well, if you just attach like a little suction cup at the end, he'll be able to plunge the toilet. The cruel joke is that he won't be able to use the toilet, but let's move on. So
yeah, please.
Oh, it only hurts when he laughs. So.
Oh God.
So again, he's up in the ante who he controls. Again, we see the poor victims of who lives he's ruined. And of course, we're going to meet a big example of that the next episode, really, when we get to know Malcolm. And again, you see he's succeeding. And even though he's not in the episode, the Purple Man's winning this episode. He is wearing Jessica down.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Because again, you see that paranoia affect her in the beginning there. She's just asking everyone. She's following this woman. She's following Audrey Eastman under the wrong. She's wasting all this time. She'd be working on her case by just wondering if she's trying to prove that, okay, she is or is not in league with the Purple Man, which again is something. It's like an amateur mistake that Jessica Jones ordinarily, if she was on her game, would probably be able to weed out. Okay, it's just going to focus on the case, not care about anything else. But because she's factoring other stuff in there, she misses the obvious thing that it's a setup for her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you.
Again, I like that's the big thing about this episode. Purple Man is a big factor why I really like this episode, because I love this episode has such a great sense of aftermath. That's the best thing I can say about this episode. This episode is excellent with the aftermath and kind of how thematically it ties into all these storylines.
Yeah, it's artfully done, like you said, in terms of you definitely feel Kilgrave's presence, even though he's never on screen at all.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I guess that leads us into the Alias alliances.
Yes, indeedy.
Okay, what should we start with?
So we start with Jessica and Trish.
All right.
So at the beginning of this episode, kind of picking up from where we left Trish last episode, she had to fake her death essentially to avoid the Purple Man's wrath.
Not fun.
And which involves Jessica doing something that Trish is, very, very not keen on doing. She has to make an apology live on air to make sure the Purple Man's out of her hair, even though it's saying, "Oh, I was wrong, and that was my bad." And of course, that's like Trish having a bar of soap in her mouth. It's like, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this. Oh, I gotta have a shower.
I mean, it's bad enough for any sort of radio or reporter personality to apologize for anything, but
no one likes a retraction, folks. Let's learn that now. No one likes a retraction.
But to retract from Kilgrave, someone like that, it's awful. It's awful. As she said, she needs a shower after that.
The unfortunate thing is nowadays it's kind of there is actually now we have kind of a current allegory to the Purple Man in real life.
Oh God.
I think we all know who we're talking about.
Please don't say making a murderer.
No.
What?
I was gonna say Bill Cosby, but
Oh dear God! Oh dear God!
I was gonna
All right.
say, well, okay, without
No, let's not. Yeah, let's just not even go there.
yeah, let's not traumatize people too much. But
No.
but the
I don't
point
think
is,
we
though,
need to bring Cosby into
okay, we'll
this.
find less Cosby, more Purple Man. Purple Man here. The thing with it's the idea you have to essentially a man is guilty of of horrible crime here. In the Purple Man's case, again, the allegory for this entire series is Purple Man taking people's control, which is very much like rape.
Sure.
Absolutely rape in most cases. He literally had a woman unable to move from a bed, so we can assume what went on. And of course, we know the end result of that in 2 episodes from now.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's like this man is guilty of horrendous crimes. 100% in your bones your friend is one of them. You have to say, oh yes, I didn't. Everything I said was out of line. She was absolutely right about everything she said about him.
Oh God, yeah. It's
Again,
hard.
you feel bad for her. It's like one of those things where you always have to. It's like if you go around, it's like you see in crime in procedurals all the time, where they have to. The lead guy has to make a retraction to accosting the wrong suspect, even though the guy was a scumbag. It's like, I'm sorry, I went after this total scumbag. They don't actually phrase it like that, but it's like, I'm sorry, I went after you.
Right.
You are completely innocent.
I made a poor judgment call, and I hope us at the GCPD can. It just seems like something that would happen.
It seems like something Loeb would make Gordon do, but on to the show. Back to the show. We see eventually, Trish is always that support net for Jessica Jones, which is something we're definitely going to see next episode. Is that she notices again? This episode is all about breaking Jessica down, getting her really kind of frayed. Getting the wires frayed in her head. Like the Purple Man's starting to win, and she's kind of losing. She's like become engulfed in the purple, so to speak, the purple haze.
Oh God.
Anyway, so Trish is noticing her breaking down. She's trying to be that beacon of support, but it's tough because obviously Jessica pushes people away as she's doing this episode to make sure everyone's safe, which is wearing on her even more.
Yeah, but having said that, I feel like we have seen a progression of Jessica. Like literally in the first couple episodes, she's just like, "No, you can't be a part of my life at all."
Yeah, again,
I think we're past that.
Yeah, we do see that. Without giving away too much, like next episode, we're going to see him kind of her letting people in a little more, but not completely. She's getting there though. She's getting to that point where she's going to start working with people. Now she's just kind of settling for working with people.
Sure, exactly.
It's a progression. Ultimately, that's where she's going to get to the kind of the team player. Which again, based on the fact we know she's eventually going to end up on the Defenders. We know eventually she'll be a team player.
Right.
So, it's a progression to that point. We can all assume. Okay, well. Again, they balance each other out with like kind of their phone chats and everything. It's like Jessica and Trish. They always kind of balance each other out in this episode. We do see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Jessica and Hogarth.
Yeah.
Hogarth,
yeah.
Giant. Yeah, I'm sorry. That joke's getting old. I won't do it again. I apologize. It's getting old even for me. Okay, so like we said, the big thing with Hogarth is kind of this support group that kind of comes into fruition in Hogarth's office.
Oh yeah. We see with Jessica and Hogarth here. So now you got me to Jessica and Jerry here. We see they use each other. We've known that for the past 3 episodes now, but they're in a relationship where they do kind of just use each other for the resources to get the job done. And of course,
sure.
Sherry Hogarth, his character, just she won't settle. She'll do literally whatever it takes because she'll just try to get Hope kind of just committed. Essentially, just get her the insanity plea. Last episode, she's willing to do whatever it takes as long as she stays out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're at that place where, Jerry has a little knowledge on Jessica Jones, and she knows, oh, I know something, you're not so perfect after all. And, she's not, again, the way that Jerry Hogarth is played in this series is just she's played as just this kind of, it's like a lot of restrained emotion, you know what I mean? It's like you have so much emotion just can be read from the littlest of lines,
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything that Hogarth does throughout the series is just like you can tell that it's just so calculated and that she's like 10 steps ahead.
It's like interesting that Jessica obviously she lets out her emotions at many times, like inappropriate times. But
of course.
Jerry Hogarth, she's like kind of the poster child of professionalism. She just kind of she's found a way to bury it down, but of course the cost of that is that she's buried it down. Is that she knows how to, she's managed that not just only in her professional life but in her personal life, which causes big problems, which we're going to see in this, which we see in this episode with her affair.
I could see her being like a mean poker player.
Oh, absolutely. Now, speaking of her affair, that's starting to come out now. And again, initially,
Okay, yeah,
not the worst of ideas, but again, I think there's too much time devoted to it as we get through the series. But
yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing ever. It's not like a storyline that I feel like kind of like derails the show or anything like that. But
at least not at this point. Later on, it kind of derails things.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Jerry Hogarth is one of those three characters in this series that, again, beginning and end, she's fine, but it starts to get in the middle. She just kind of turns mushy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I love the
This
woman.
was our restaurant, Jerry. You proposed to me here, Jerry.
Now, first of all, let me say this: I do in this episode, I really like her. I want to say it's Pam. I don't know. I feel bad.
Pam. It's Pam.
Oh, it's Pam. All right, I got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I love her secretary. You know me, I love secretary characters. I did like Pam. I didn't love her, but it's like, okay, I like Pam. I like how she's like, wait, you took me to her fate, the restaurant where you proposed. What's wrong with you?
You know, she's all about like she can respect people's privacy and people's boundaries. You know,
that's the thing, but she doesn't know these things. Like, this is the restaurant.
Right.
Proposed? What's wrong with you? You know, it's just like she doesn't want to make waves, but she's in a position where she has no choice but to make waves. And again, she seems to be like a very nice lady, Jerry's saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Okay, let's see. So, just trying to see. Okay, meanwhile, so again, that's kind of Jerry's story going on here. And again, her ex-wife, I don't remember what the ex-wife's name is.
I do not off the top of my head.
I feel bad. I'm sorry, ex-wife.
Hold on. Wendy.
How good? I forget that. Yeah, I remember we talked about it. Wendy. Hey, Wendy becomes more important. We'll get to know her name when we get to that. You feel kind of bad for Wendy, but Wendy's being a little too offensive here, like a little too on the attack. You know, it's like, okay, it's a restaurant. You do it classy. You walk in the other direction.
It's kind of like I like how they framed the scene where you can kind of see both their points.
Well, yeah, again, it's like, so we're going to find out Wendy's not exactly wrong about, Jerry Hogarth kind of lacking humanity, which obviously, with their profession, is definitely there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Hogarth makes kind of like that astute observation to Jessica where she's like, oh, what if we could use Kilgray's powers and, like, wouldn't it be amazing if Kilgray's powers were on our side? And Jessica just gets flat out offended by that.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so with that, Jerry offers some sound advice, but again, there's absolutely no humanity in it.
Right.
Again, sorry, as I mentioned, I'm just retreading the old point there. It's all business, all about professionalism. Again, taking out the humanity makes waves within her and Jessica's relationship, which again is saying, well, this would actually be beneficial. Are you insane? He literally controls people. And again, Jerry Hogarth knows that Jessica is controlled, so I love, however, after she kind of smashes the glass in front of all the people, she gives like this smile, like everything's fine, everything's fine.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Again, Jerry Hogarth in the beginning, I think she has some fun moments.
I think she does too. Yeah.
Again, beginning parts towards the end. I mean, again, where she kind of goes in episode, I guess like 10 or 11, it's kind of up in the air, but it's all factoring with that middle stuff. We'll get into that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think if there's any last things here. Again, just showing you, Jerry just writes these people off as crazy. Jessica hears them out, and that's just showing you that humanity thing again. But we're done with these two. I think we're good. All right. So Jessica and Simpson and Jessica.
Not much to talk about here.
No, yet. I think they're going to get a little more interesting in the next coming episodes. But we see in the beginning of their kind of dynamic here, it kind of starts here. Well, after she saved his life in the last episode, she's a little more sympathetic to the paranoia and guilt he's feeling. Again, she's feeling very paranoid in this episode. He gets like, I think he's all around me. He's like, she understands. She suggests going to the, why don't you go to the meeting? Well, I'm not going either. It sounds stupid. I'm not. Which by the way, I love in the scene with Hogarth. She just mentions like, oh, I'm just gonna sit around with a bunch of whiners. It's like she's
wallowing around in their own self-pity or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I love that she comes up with a brilliant idea to kind of start a support group, which is a good idea, very helpful. She's not going to go with that thing.
That is a very Jessica Jones things to do. It's like she'll help the people, but it's kind of above, it's kind of below her.
In a circle with a bunch of, just love the show. She calls them whiners. There's whiners in a circle. Of course, every time he mentions the people in a circle, you're always going to jump to Guardians of the Galaxy also for an additional laugh.
Well, look at us. We're just a bunch of assholes standing in a circle. There's
a team up for you. Just off top is Jessica Jones and Rocket Raccoon go to a bar. Imagine that one. Okay, but back on this. So let's see. So again,
someone on Movie Fights actually pitched that Jessica Jones and Tony Stark kind of like have a love thing going on, and that leads to Devil in a Bottle.
Huh. Well, some of the same. She drinks the same thing Tony Stark drank in that book.
Well, there you go. There you go.
So, like on the cover of that magazine, he's looking into the mirror. The thing of alcohol there, I forget what the brand is specifically, but that brand is one of the things she drinks in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, let's see. So again, the point is with the Simpson stuff here is that she strikes up a partnership with him to take down the Purple Man, and but she instantly senses there's something off about this guy as he kind of snaps at Malcolm for a moment there. Again, he's on edge from the whole fear of the Purple Man, like the guilt over what he's done, and his whole thing's about him kind of redeeming himself, which we're going to get into with our next alliance here.
All right.
So kind of our last alliance here would be Simpson and Trish. So again, trying to seek that redemption. He's Trish is obviously very fearful of Simpson.
I thought this storyline was honestly probably one of the stronger points of the episode.
I really liked this. I really did. I think the next episode kind of, I could say maybe fumbles a little bit with the story, but it's nothing bad.
It's not terrible, but I think this episode it's very strong relationship building on there.
Yeah, this is a great start of their relationship. I love this start for them. Again, it feels so natural, feels like a real progression. Like you wouldn't instantly trust. It's like the realistic thing you never really get too much in the comics. Well, I mean, now you get in the modern comics, but in the olden comics, you never got this sort of thing, It's like someone's mind controlled. Oh, they're mind controlled. It's fine. It's like you get the reality here of, okay, it was mind control. He tried to kill me. I'm not going to let this guy in. Are you nuts?
Exactly.
It's this.
I'd like to see like a cut of the Avengers where they're all like paranoid around Hawkeye for the rest of the movie.
There was this hilarious blooper, by the way, in Age of Ultron, where Jeremy Renner's playing around, and when let's just say there's a scene where he and Quicksilver are on a barge, like one of the rescue ships,
mm-hmm.
and for the blooper reel, he kills Quicksilver as he's laying unconscious on the ground. Oh yeah, he's like basically he smothers him. He puts his hand over his mouth. Shh, sleep. Which is pretty funny. I'm just like points at Jeremy Renner on that one. It was hilarious. But anyways,
Jeremy Renner was definitely like the funnest part of the Age of Ultron promotional campaign. I thought
he was. He was a fun part of the movie too. He was fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to this, but it's interesting. She would have every reason in the world to be fearful of Simpson because again, he was like looking right at her and just trying to, although he might try to kill her, trying to strangle her there, and she still has the marks to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that she knows even from the beginning. She knows it wasn't his fault, but it's a natural response. That she like recognizes, okay, the Purple Man controlled him. It doesn't mean I have to let him in my house.
Sure.
So again, she still has some obvious trauma, but like she acknowledges that. Like she knows like it's his natural response not to trust this guy. But as soon as he begs forgiveness and begs for trust, like outside the doors, like it's kind of like an old '80s movie, just outside her door talking to her.
Well, I love the visual symbolism of that, kind of like them kind of mending their relationship and getting to know each other, but not being face to face with each other. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, in a way, trying to break barriers, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Because exactly. In the beginning, he was trying to break a barrier to see if she was alive or not.
Right.
But I love how and this is interesting. Rewatching it, kind of knows some interesting things because, of course, Trish's childhood is a big thing with this series and with this character.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I love that they bond over their childhood. It's they bond over childhood memories, I should say.
I think one of Simpson's best moments is that whole story with the Barbie dolls and the G.I. Joes.
Oh yeah, the thing about it, the thing of the implications of that, though, it's the idea they are products of their childhoods.
Sure.
She had the fame of a child star with a with a very deranged mother.
Oh, which we'll get into. Oh my God, that leads to some of the most disturbing subtext in the whole season, I think.
Of course, with Simpson there, he's kind of overly ambitious, and he's potentially dangerous if you really listen to what he's saying with his childhood story there. I mean, it's noble.
Very true, very true. That whole childhood story is definitely some good foreshadowing for where Simpson's arc ends up.
I believe the idea was, if I'm remembering correctly, Simpson's character was kind of set around Vietnam in the comics, but obviously they don't do that. I think they do kind of communicate kind of a Vietnam era in his childhood there, though. I'm not saying. I'm saying like if Captain America is the 40s, this guy feels. I'm saying there are some people made the connection that he's kind of a Captain America-esque figure for this show. Sure. Obviously, not the same thing, but like a diluted version of the Captain America framework. And if you look at it as like him kind of somehow, that story plays like it's a Vietnam type story to me. Like he did whatever it took to save someone, even though that person got melted into a bunch of like just a giant clump of a person.
Right.
I'm just saying it sounds kind of like twisted, and that kind of communicates with this guy. He's seen a lot of bad stuff in combat. I'm just saying again. I know it wasn't actually in the Vietnam thing. I'm just saying kind of.
No, I know what you're saying. It's a good.
But I like because remember a lot of the Marvel heroes were set in Vietnam back in the olden days.
Oh yeah.
Again, I like how they're kind of communicating that without actually saying that. Though. I like that there's like subtle nods to that. But the point is, what I'm getting at with him is like they are products of their child. So again, you can tell this guy potentially has a screw loose with that's his with a noble intention of rescuing someone. Hey, I completed my mission. I saved the Barbies. So again, it's like it's an interesting idea that he does see himself he sees himself as a Captain America.
For sure.
But obviously, there's a lot of darkness in that little childhood story. That you burned them? How did they get burned? Well, obviously, again, he's ambitious with he's just trying to make the most realistic thing possible. Which
I think we should kind of shelve this for alleyway evidence because it's a good kind of like lead into where his character goes.
Okay.
So,
she understands it wasn't him, and she doesn't blame him, and where he does blame himself though, and that's kind of wins her over in the end. They bond over kind of the. I'll save the rest of it for the.
Okay. Let's get to top shelf stuff. Yeah, need some top shelf stuff. Jessica. I don't know why I'm doing that at this point. All right, what do you got?
Okay, let's see. I think they again, as I mentioned earlier on, I think the way they sold Paranoia with the crowds was amazing. I thought that was a great visual kind of selling point. I think it was just a great visual selling point of what Jessica was going through in the episode.
If you want paranoia with crowds, watch the movie It Follows, because that's basically what that movie is all about.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying this.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, that movie is literally like a full movie's worth of like, holy shit, there's someone sketchy walking behind that person.
Yeah, but it's such an interesting way to lay it out, because the setup for this is really great. Purple Man has a person with a camera taking pictures of you. You have no idea who it is or how many people it is.
Exactly.
So anyone with a camera around you, you're instantly suspicious of. Man, that's a really kind of thriller premise for you. It's like you don't know who's going to be the bad guy.
BlueDragonFive.
Yeah.
I've got hold on, let me see if I fucking even know how to work this thing. Which I don't. God damn it. I've got visual aid. Ooh, look, I'm taking a picture of you. How ominous. Ooh.
Very stuff.
All right. I'm sorry. I wanted to like do a flash and everything, but I can't figure out how this thing turns on. Wait. Is that it? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, one of my favorite visuals of the episode, I want to include this in top shelf stuff. My favorite visual of the season possibly might be her like kind of in a Spider-Man pose in the alley. I mean, I love that she's just kind of, this is like in the opening scene too of the title sequence.
I see that shot in a lot of the promotional material.
Yeah, again, it feels so Spider-Man, because you got to remember her origin is kind of laden into Spider-Man much, because they kind of placed her as like a high school acquaintance of Peter Parker's.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not saying she doesn't have to be that. I'm just saying I like how it's just kind of still some Spider-Man-ish imagery. But I mean, it fits so well the private eye. That's what I love about it, though. Just the idea she's like on a stakeout, like kind of using her strength and her jumping abilities to get up high and just kind of like perch herself, kind of like the Grinch when he's going down the chimney, with the
exactly.
between alleys, and hence the term. By the way, that's the reason we have alleyway evidence as the title later on. By the way.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to point that out. Just the point is, I love seeing her in that shot. It makes so much sense for Private Eye. You get all the best shots.
There we go. There's the flash.
All right.
I took your picture, Jessica. I'm sorry.
Right. Anyway, so you see what I'm saying? I mean, the alleyway purchase is kind of a really neat device, and it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
For a character. I mean, it's something that can jump and you get a lot of strength to hold up for that long. And I love how she's just carrying on conversations with Trish, by the way. So, I mean, that's what I loved about their phone calls, with their the big dynamic they had this episode, where they're just kind of like talking to each other, just trying to keep each other balanced, saying, well, come on, keep me entertained. I'm all cooped up in here.
I think like I said, some of my favorite moments came from the interview process, where we had all that editing back and forth, like where we knew which people were Kilgrave and which people weren't, based on just the information that we've learned about Kilgrave in the first 4 episodes.
I think this episode is excellent logic. I love that. And particularly when I say that logic, I mean, there's so many really good ideas in this episode. I think the biggest one I loved, just connecting your thing, is, I love the idea of a support group. It makes sense. It makes absolute sense. Kilgrave has probably in his lifetime controlled other people who probably didn't like being controlled, like Jessica. So it makes sense, if they came forward. Again, it's such a nice progression of logic.
Yeah, totally.
And it is the idea that, okay, we should start a support group. I mean, survivors of a horrible occurrence would get together after a while. It makes sense.
And then also, we'll just get to it when we get to Kilgrave Command.
I mean, who else do they have to turn to, It's like no one else. They can only listen to each other.
But my God, the use of the little girl at the Kilgrave Command, it is not something I was expecting Marvel to do.
And the biggest thing I can say to this episode, I said a little bit before, let me get into why this is particularly. I love that this is an episode all about Aftermath, and I think it's just Aftermath specifically of Purple Man, the incident, and choices. And I say those 3 in particular because obviously, Simpson is a victim of, we see the aftermath of Simpson being controlled by the Purple Man. It's always Jessica being controlled by the Purple Man. All of our support group guys control the Purple Man. Mm-hmm. And Trish also is like, she's a victim of the Purple Man's by proxy.
Mm-hmm.
The incident, obviously, with the Eastmans, that's a big deal of Aftermath in this episode.
Right.
And the choices in terms of Jerry's choices, and just kind of some other and I guess by the end, Malcolm's choice too.
Yeah, it's a big theme running throughout for sure.
I'm just saying, I love that those. You have Aftermath applied to so many different angles of the episode. I think it's interesting on the rewatch because of those factors. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Again, Simpson and Trish talking was really a highlight of the episode, as you mentioned. The power of the Malcolm reveal, I thought was just so remember how they sold that as like her walking.
Yeah, that was why I think that was one of the best cliffhangers of the whole season.
It's like once she got the scarf tip, and we see her figure it out as we figure it out at the same time. Yeah. So we kind of remember, wait, a scarf. Again, it's just they sell the moment so well. It's kind of like a Breaking Bad ending. I don't know. They really kind of sell you like it's a big kind of reveal, like Pollos Hermanos.
Oh God.
And who's in charge of Pollos Hermanos? Gus Fring.
All right. Okay, can we move on to the heroic sandwich moment?
Again, Jessica's expression of rage in the Eastman scene was fantastic. Which I guess we're gonna say most of that for alleyway evidence, right? Or just want to make sure we're not kind of bowling over it.
I was gonna. Well, her rage was part of my heroic sandwich moment. Actually.
I'm sorry. We'll map it all in there. I'm sorry, folks.
Okay, that's all good.
I go to
right. Heroic sandwich.
Heroic sandwich. You're right.
Okay.
Well, you take us through yours first because I want to talk about it.
All right. So I guess, like you said, in the end, it's revealed that the Eastmans are basically a fraud, and that there's no
fraud.
You know who lives in this house? A great big phony. They're essentially just rounding up heroes to kill them because they're bitter that their mother died in the Battle of New York.
The incident, many call it.
Yeah. I don't know, BlueDragonFive. I thought their motivation was weak sauce.
Well, that's the idea. Here's what I like about it. Again, I'll admit, it's not, out of everything else in this season, is probably a weak motive, like a weak, not a reveal, but kind of a weak main plot, a weak
Mhm.
revenge plot, I guess. But you know, it does when you try to poke holes in it. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, there would be people who are again. That's the idea. They're illogical bigots exploring bigotry in the Marvel universe.
So that's exactly what I like about Jessica's reaction, though, and hence why it's the heroic sandwich moment of the episode for me is Jessica just lays down some cold, hard truth to these people, and she doesn't harm them. You know, she never physically harms them. She
I
surely
wanted to, though. I wanted her to strangle Gretchen Schwartz, though. I wanted her to do that.
I mean, she certainly gives them a scare, and she certainly kind of like, probably puts in a few $1,000s worth of property damage, I'd imagine, but she never physically hurts them. And I think kind of the heroic thing about this is it's just kind of like a pent up, like, this is Jessica, like, this is what this woman has been going through. This is what she's been feeling. And now she's like finally letting it out after 4 episodes. And that's why, like, I don't know, in its own kind of bizarre way, I really do think that the speech she gives to these people is kind of like her own kind of like very extreme tough love, where it's like, look, you need to hear these things because your idea of the world is just twisted. It is not going to get you anywhere. So I think it's heroic just because we sympathize with Jessica so much in this moment. And also, like I said, because it's just a big fat bag of truth for the Eastmans. All right.
Oh yeah, but let me say a few more things about this moment because you know this moment.
I'm gonna go grab a bottle of water, but go ahead.
Right. What I really liked about this moment is that it really just it gets to the heart of a lot of things with Jessica Jones as a character because you know an element that hasn't really been brought up a lot that we're going to see definitely kind of delved into a lot, especially kind of next episode. Again, mainly in connection with the Purple Man because you got to remember her powers are a big reason why the Purple Man is fixated with her. So I mean, addressing her powers is probably a soft spot because every horrible thing in her life we're going to find out has been in connection to her getting these powers. So it's kind of like it's not so much with great power comes great responsibility, but more, you know, with great power comes great headaches. Like all these, you know, you're going to be a sideshow act for the rest of your life, and you're going to have all these people eyeballing you, and we're going to find out, you know, she didn't want any of that. She's trying to get away from that. Like her, much like Spider-Man, her first option is not to become a superhero. It's just to, you know, just to kind of like move it to the side. That's why when they bring up, you know, the incident and, you know, you and your superhero friend, she's not friends with any of those people. You go after the flag wearer or go after the green guy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, again, I love that she's pointing out the logic of that, and it makes sense though. And what I'm saying, Tiki, is that this makes sense given where the season goes with, like, you know, people finding out about her powers and how they react to it. So kind of her powers are definitely the reason why the Purple Man kind of seeks her out and becomes obsessed with her in many respects.
For sure, for sure.
So I'm saying that I think this episode does kind of, in the grand scheme, it makes a lot more sense. Individually, you know, it is kind of a detraction from the plot. But the thing about in the grand scheme, though, like,
I don't even think it's a distraction. Like I said, I just think like within at least the first 5 episodes of the season, it's just simply the weakest of those 5, and one of them had to be the weakest. So.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, though, I mean, it still it makes the other points a little bit stronger. Where, like, when she has fear about kind of revealing her powers, or not revealing her powers, about powers being found out for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just saying, like, you know, just seeing kind of the insane people. Because, like, you always hear about people saying, well, if they find out about your powers, you're going to be, you know, experimented on, you're going to be looked at funny, all that stuff. Like, we finally see it happen. Like, the result of just your average Joe just going crazy and trying to kill you.
Sure.
Over your powers, which we see with Audrey Eastman here. Audrey Eastman's just a psychopath.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, maybe if they would have made her a little more sympathetic, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of the flaw here.
But that might be the point, though. It kind of reminds you, it's very All in the Family-esque. You know,
I guess so.
Well, no, I shouldn't say, it's like not All in the Family, it's like, I guess, Jefferson's maybe, because there's a scene where I think where Sherman Hemsley, like, revives a big...
I don't know.
Fine. Point is, you know, just it's bigotry, just illogical. I love how she's pointing. Remember how mean Audrey Eastman is, just like saying, "Well, you know, remember what they say about special being special."
Oh yeah, don't even get me started, and don't you dare quote it.
I'm not going to quote it. I'm just going to say that, that was just what she said was just really mean.
Yeah, you can probably tell why I was personally offended by that.
Yeah, like basically saying
I
special.
wasn't. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't offended by like the show writing that in. I was just like, "Ooh, that's a good line to put in to make that woman a bitch."
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I really hated her. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wanted to see just Jessica throw her around a little bit. You know, I didn't want her to hurt her.
Right.
Just like throw her around, like they
Right.
hold her up in the air like George Reeves Superman for a moment. Just like you like super nanny her or something. You know.
Mhm.
But the point is, you know, it was a really great kind of catharsis moment for Jessica, and she's just like, you know, just kind of destroying the room, letting her issues out. At the same time, we get kind of the frustration of her powers, which have kind of brought a lot of bad stuff down upon her.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. My heroic sandwich is simple. It's kind of I mentioned earlier I love the in terms of heroic mode, because I partially argue that that is more self-serving of Jessica, but you make excellent points that yeah, it is kind of heroic.
Well, like I said, the heroic thing to me is just that you sympathize with her so much in the moment, and also just kind of like it's sort of a wake-up call to these people.
Yeah, I mean it's like again setting the bigot straight, so to speak. You know, so
Exactly.
there is
Exactly.
a heroic message to that. But for me personally, it's like there are these two moments. Like one is when she tells Trish, you basically forces Trish to make the apology to protect her, even though it's something Trish doesn't want to do. It's the heroic sacrifice, like doing something that you're really it's going out of your way to basically doing the hard thing. Doing the right thing, even though it's really hard to do.
Mhm.
That's what I'm getting at. The other moment I really loved is just the simple notion of Jessica hearing the victims out. Like everyone's just writing them off. Oh, they're crazies. You know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry's coming in just to tell us their Kilgrave story, their get out of jail free card. Well, no, let's hear them out.
I mean, I think she did that kind of like in the self-interest of like finding people who were affected by Kilgrave to then use to get to
Well, no,
Kilgrave. You know what I mean?
come on. That's the whole reason she's going. One of the big reasons she's still advocating for Hope Schlafly. She feels guilty and she can sympathize with her experience being
Oh yeah,
controlled by
absolutely,
Kilgrave.
absolutely. But I'm just saying there is a little bit of self-serving interest here.
Well, yeah, but I mean, also there's a lot of sympathy in there.
There is,
I mean,
there is.
more stories over others. Again, the jacket guy had a really hilarious line at the end where he's saying, "Well, I mean, look, I know it's not as dark and horrifying as my parents getting shot, but you know, it's still he maybe give him a jacket. It was an expensive jacket."
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
some stories not so terrifying. The woman who just made the smile for like a day that's terrifying.
Oh yeah, that was probably the most unnerving of the whole
And of
of all
course,
that.
well, speaking of that, let's keep going to Kilgrave commands.
Kilgrave Command. Yes, yes. Okay. You want to go first, or should I?
Well, for me, mine's piggybacking off from the support group at the end.
Okay, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
love I think the most terrifying Kilgrave command in this episode. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of horrifying ones, and again, if that one guy actually was commanded to stick something up his posterior, then that would also be horrifying. But this one, I think, kind of trumps that. Emphasis on kinda. No, that totally trumps it. I'm sorry. But this one was more just kind of the implications of this just description of it. I love it. It's just kind of told to us that we don't see it. You know, it's like kind of it's like the Jaws effect on this thing. You know, we don't see it, but we know. Just picturing in our minds is more horrifying than we could ever see it.
Right, right.
This poor guy is at the support group, and this is the one that kind of gives Jessica the lead on the Purple Man. This guy, he mentions that the Purple Man, the reason he has the most contact with the Purple Man is that he was driving with the son in the car. His son was getting on his nerves a little bit, which makes it even more horrifying with the way it pans out here. He's saying, you know, his son was in the car. He was crying. He wanted his action figures or something because he sounds like a baby, but it might have been like a 3-year-old maybe. Yeah, it's like 2-year-old maybe. I don't know. Sorry, not 3. Anyway, point is he's in the car. It stops at a it's at our stoplight. He described it so vividly. It's at a red light. And Kilgreaves walked up to Alatar. He wanted a ride in the car, and he didn't even look at my son Avery.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically said, "You'd like to leave your son." And the fact that he phrases it like this is the most terrifying thing. He says, "You'd like to leave your son. You'd like to leave your son here, wouldn't you?" And he said, "Yes, because." At his core, I mean, his son was crying, and he definitely, on some level, doesn't want to bring him on this potentially dangerous journey.
Sure, sure.
So the answer would be yes, whether it's the selfish reason of he's crying and I don't want to bring him with me, or the other horrifying reason of this might be the last car ride I ever take. I want him safe, but in doing so, Kilgrave just the simple command that Kilgrave made him put his son, leave him on the side of a curb as he drove off, and he didn't come back for days. And the fact that the aftermath being a big theme of this episode.
Yeah. The aftermath is brutal.
His wife, he was slapped with child abandonment. His wife left him, and he can't blame her. It's like, so you feel so bad for this guy. It's one of those horrifying things Kilgrave's done.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, folks, I emphasize it gets worse for the Kilgrave commands. What he's done to people. This is just each episode gets progressively more dark and terrifying.
Well, speaking of the tip of the iceberg, I think my moment is definitely kind of like tip of the iceberg terrifying.
Yours is just basically that's what you don't see that's scary. This is what you do see, folks. That's really scary. You don't want to see. Walk them through it.
Okay, so basically what we see is Jessica is stopped by a little girl who just says her name, Jessica Jones. And oh boy, she says Trish Walker is safe for now. And we're thinking right away, we're like, oh boy, that girl's been Kilgraved. Here we go.
Is she wearing purple?
I want to say yes. I want to say she's wearing like a light purple jacket.
You know, it'd be even more terrifying if the purple man just like saw people wearing purple and said, I'm definitely controlling that person. Because he likes the color. Can you imagine how horrifying that would be for anyone? Just every average Joe's wearing purple says, hey, I'm just gonna make that guy commit suicide.
Oh God. Well, don't say that, BlueDragonFive. Don't say that. Don't.
Oh, sorry, forgot. Well, I see that guy wearing purple. I'm gonna make him draw a funny mustache on himself.
There we go. Fine.
I didn't mean literally. I'm not British.
Fine. There we go. I've been Kilgraved. Don't worry, it'll come off. Don't worry about it.
Said the man who had from that frat party, and now he can't get a job.
Wait, what?
Oh, never mind. Nothing. Let's move on.
Oh dear God.
Keep going.
Okay.
Well, keep going. What's more horrifying? I took us on a tangent with the mustache. What's going on?
Yes, you did. Thank you for ruining my train of thought. Yeah, that too. Thanks.
Hey,
now I'm very worried. Okay, so Jessica asked how old. Jessica, shut up. Jessica asked how old the girl is. The girl says 8.5. Jessica says, I'm very sorry this is happening to you. And then, I wish you had the audio, BlueDragonFive.
Well, now I feel bad.
I know. But the girl's like, it's all your fault, you bitch. And she basically just goes on a tangent against Jessica from there. And it's obviously all the purple man's doing. And
I love in the end how she says, don't you have a job or something? Yeah.
And it's just horrifying that the purple man would choose like this little girl to lay out like such a hateful, like, all right, I want to get this message across to Jessica, but I want to do it in like the most vile and malicious way, and the way that's going to get to her the most.
You know what's scary about all the purple man commands? I've noticed this on the rewatch. There is a lot of that, as we've seen with Hope Schlotman and definitely with this little girl. There is some part of that is just from the person themselves being controlled. Like they're just speaking from the mind. So you don't know how much of that cursing's from that little girl or not.
No. I think in this situation, it's definitely Kilgrave.
Well, I mean, the point of her saying, Jessica, this is all your fault. Like, some of those lines might be...
That's true. This is like, all your fault. Yeah.
Like Hope Schlotman, obviously, after she's being controlled, still kind of speaking very kind of... Like, she's...
Hope Schlotman's getting on my nerves.
I'll give you on that one. We'll get into that, but not yet. But you know what I mean by that, just real quick, is that, it's like how Schlotman, like, when she was speaking to Jessica, that one episode was like that she remembers the command, like being, as all these group members do. They remember being commanded by the purple man, so then they have a frame of reference of like, yeah, it's your fault.
Exactly.
So you don't know how much of that is the command, how much of that is the person. So there's always a bit of a line there.
Right. But yeah, that's about it for my moment. It's just like I said, it's kind of the tip of the iceberg of like, okay, this is very disturbing. This is very unsettling that this is happening. But
I'll tell you the moment I can't watch because it's so horrifying.
What?
It's just I can watch it, but it's like, it always makes me cringe. It's like, oh man, it's so real world horrifying. Is that just shows you Jessica's in a position where she's in a very dangerous position right now. Where then she like grabs the girl for a moment, and then she screams like either she snaps out of it or it's Kilgrave acting. We don't know.
Right.
I think it's more horrifying if it's the girl snapping out of it, because then she's like thinks she's being accosted by this.
I think at that point it is the girl snapping out of it. Yeah.
And it's like, mommy, and then it's not. And the Jessica Jones is trying to save some face. Oh no, I was helping her find her mommy. I can't. It's almost like it burns in my ears a little bit when the woman says, "Stay away from her."
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Jessica. It's like, oh no, lady, you got it wrong. No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You want to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to some alleyway evidence.
Yeah. Well, biggest thing would be the incident aftermath. Again, kind of like what Daredevil did, setting us in the universe there, setting us in the Marvel universe after the incident. Made a lot of money for Hell's Kitchen. We know that much.
Oh yeah.
Mainly for the Kingpin, but also for the neighborhoods.
You raised some very, very good points about Simpson in terms of his story with the Barbies and the G.I. Joes. I think that's a fantastic point about where his character is eventually going to go.
Oh, yeah.
He's like just this oorah kind of guy who really, really wants to do the right thing, but by doing the right thing, he's not really thinking about the consequences.
Oh, yeah, because again, we know he's so gung-ho as he was as a kid, just like, again, willing to play with actual matches and stuff. And he's a little unstable because of that, and of course that's going to backfire on him big time.
For sure.
Yeah. And also, again, he's his bonding of, he gives Trish something to protect herself. He gives her a gun to protect herself with, which we know that's the sign of trust. That's really what kind of wins her over in the end. Oddly enough, he gives a woman a gun for forgiveness, and that just shows like how unstable this guy is. You give a woman you like a gun.
We were just talking about this, but I think just using a child actress like that in such a kind of horrifying way is. Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Alleyway evidence. Evidence.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You can just say you like it, as we can backtrack if you'd like.
I do like it, but I was totally in the wrong segment. I'm sorry. Okay.
It's fine.
Okay, that was embarrassing.
There's potential. I mean, I'm sure you've probably heard this from a bunch of, well, not you, everyone's probably heard this from a bunch of people. There's a potential Inhumans reference. Like some people are saying, oh, she knows 99 people. Obviously she doesn't know 99 other superhumans, but if she does, then it's the Inhumans.
Oh boy.
But I'm just saying, you have the consensus of people who aren't too familiar. Like they watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then they think, oh wait, I know what they're talking about. No, come on, don't read too much into it.
Yeah, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff confuses me.
Yeah, I'm just saying those are like other people who would have superhuman abilities who'd be like in the 99, because there are a lot of people who've been affected, so there could be feasibly be in the 99 ballpark, but I doubt that's what, because Jessica isn't much of a personable person, so I don't think she knows 99 superhuman.
No, I very much think that was definitely a ruse.
Yeah. Right now she only knows one. She only knows Luke Cage. That's about it. The Cage. Not Nick Cage, but Luke Cage.
No, not Nick Cage. Very different.
Anyway, so again, I love, here's some continuing ideas that we're going to definitely see pay off there, or stuff has paid off. Kilgrave listening to Trish, listening to a radio show. And there's that continued in this episode. Jessica interacting with children, which is going to be a big fixture of next episode.
Sure.
Simpson having guilt over his actions and lusting for revenge against Kilgrave. That started here. He really wants revenge bad. He's just kind of forgetting the fact that he's a cop pretty much the rest of the series.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. He kind of goes off the rails.
Yeah, Simpson is so fired.
Yeah. James Gordon, he is not.
Well, anyway. So, yeah, no, but not wrong. Believe me, he's not. But
no, he's not.
Like Gotham's ended right now. I'm a little worried.
Oh god.
Anyway, let's see. So Malcolm's photographing Jessica for Kilgrave. That's going to be definitely a big revelation. It's going to be worked into the plot. Jessica distancing herself from Luke Cage, and that's why Luke's not going to be in the couple episodes coming up. He'll be back though. Don't worry, folks.
I know, but it's kind of sad though. It's like whenever Luke is missing from an episode, I'm like, no, I want my Cage fix. Where's my sweet Christmas?
Well, to be fair, we saw images of him this episode, and he was mentioned.
Mention like Emma's dad.
Right. Well, okay. He was at a taxidermy conference.
Oh God! Oh God!
At the Keystone Motel.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right. Anything else? Anything else?
Okay, real quick, again, the support group that's going to come back big time.
Big time. Oh yeah.
Jerry's messy divorce, that's going to be reoccurring. Jessica looking out for Malcolm, which is going to be again yet another big fixture of next episode. Seeing her look out for Malcolm. That's really it.
Okay. Okay. So with that in mind, speaking of Luke Cage, let's get to the last call, everybody. Yeah, let's go. I'm a big blooming black man. Let's go. Right.
With a mustache.
Yes, thank you.
Like Lando Calrissian's.
Oh, Jesus.
Pale cousin.
On the cool side of the pillow. All right, let's go. What do you think?
Again, I think there's a great theme of the aftermath. I've said that many times before, but that's I got to say that in the last segments here. It was a great aftermath theme, which really makes the episode good on a rewatch. It was a great build to the Purple Man, despite kind of lack of appearance, because really we've been around the Purple Man. We haven't really gotten like Jessica playing a scene directly with the Purple Man yet, which we're going to see next episode, definitely. I mean, again, there's really like her in person with the Purple Man, like both of them together. We're still not even going to see that for a couple episodes, actually. So we're still building towards that, still kind of going on.
Well, I think much like, oh, Jesus Christ, I just saw my mustache now. Wow, I just looked at it. Wow. Yeah, no. That's a lot worse than I thought it would be. Wow.
Hey, I warned you.
Yeah, you did warn me. Wow, that's kind of bad. That's really bad.
That's what you get for not thinking through reactions.
I was Kilgrave from BlueDragonFive. How dare you? How dare you?
You know really stinks about it? If I knew you were going to do that, I would have done a better David Tennant impression. I didn't even do a David Tennant impression.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
I would have tried to if I knew you were going to do that.
Well, I'll most certainly have to go and take a washcloth to it in between shows now.
Well, then you'll have smudges.
Yeah, well. Okay, anyways. I mean, talking through it, I think it's a little bit better. I still think the Eastmans are kind of the weak point of not the season, but kind of definitely the weak point of the episode. I thought Audrey Eastman, I mean, yeah, it is, it's Breaking Bad, but it's just the character herself was unpleasant. I think they could have saved the character if they made her a little bit more sympathetic. Yeah,
but that was kind of the point, though. She's supposed to be just kind of your dumb bigot.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know. Overall, it's a well done episode, and the Purple Man stuff is very much kind of like in the background, but very much kind of like bubbling to the surface. So I don't have anything wrong with that.
Let me say one more remark on the. I think I examined the bigotry. I kind of happened upon something about this episode. I think really kind of justifies that. It's really interesting on the rewatch. One last thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think this episode, it's a big MCU reminder with kind of the Eastman plot, right? Obviously remind us that we are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The incident happened, the first Avengers happened, right? And I think oddly enough, it's very true to Jessica Jones' selling point as a character. She attracts and resides in the darkest corners of the Marvel, in this case, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and she endures it. That's the idea. It's like we've seen. Don't know, Daredevil got in the dark places, but she literally resides in the darkest aspects of this really bright and gleaming. We can do anything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Really, it's the darkest corners. Like she gets all the crap, and you feel bad for it. Not crapping like it's uninteresting. I'm just crapping that it's oh my god, she has to weigh herself through all of this darkness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's a show about rape at its core. It is. I mean, that's a dark show. And she endures it though. And again, when we are back in the first time we ever talked about Jessica Jones on the speculation, well, we found out about her. I've read a little bit about her recently. I mean, I've read a few of her comics lately. I mean, that was the clever thing about her character. She's been placed into these iconic moments in the Marvel comics, and she has on the surface this gleaming Marvel universe, but she has some of the darkest stories ever. She just gets all the bad luck in the Marvel universe, worse than Peter Parker's luck.
Yeah.
And I think this episode kind of represents that. Like she gets all the burden. Like obviously the Eastmans don't go after the Avengers because they don't have a fighting chance, but they go after Jessica Jones. Poor Jessica Jones. Again, the world is shouldering all its crap onto her.
Hmm.
And you know, that's why we root for her. That's why we talk about her, because we like her and we
Okay.
root for her.
Okay, so I guess that'll just about round it off. So
And who we talk about, Tiki?
we're talking about Jessica.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. All right. So I guess with that in mind, you heard it, folks. Last call, which means we've been cut off. But as we finish our Marvel brand this evening, before we polish off the next bottle of Jessica Jones, I'm sorry, I'm off, Mike. Let me try that again. But as we finish, Jesus Christ, I'm embarrassing myself.
You're getting fumes from that mustache, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yes, I probably am. Yeah, I probably am.
Again,
But
you have a bad idea.
as we finish our Marvel brand this evening, before we polish off the next bottle of Jessica Jones, there we go. There we go.
Oh,
We take a moment to toast Marvel on another fine Netflix miniseries.
I'll drink to that.
Jessica!